Hey, this is Tyler from Shirt of Shame, bringing you your breakdown for UFC 210. This is Cormier versus Johnson. Let's try this again. At the time of recording this is Monday, so we got a whole 5 days, probably right up until the event, for this to fall through again because fuck it. So I'm going to be breaking down the card. This is more of a kind of a preview. Because a lot of these fights are kind of under the radar. You might not know who a lot of these guys are. When he's starting off right at the beginning of the main card with Will Brooks versus Charles Oliveira. Ill Will versus the Bronx. I got some things to say about Will Brooks. It just really speaks to UFC's marketing plan at the moment. They're not trying. You have a pre-packaged story you could be telling with Will Brooks. So what if he lost his last fight? He lost to Cowboy Oliveira. He lost to one Oliveira, now he's fighting another. But anyways, Cowboy came in too heavy. He ground him up against a fence. He got bullied. Cowboy was much bigger than him. Will Brooks was hurt going into the third. He was beat. You could tell he did not think he could win that fight. He was not in a good mindset for that third round. And if you go back and watch, he actually took some 12-6 elbows. But getting back to my point, Will Brooks is a Bellator's lightweight champion. He vacated the belt to come to the UFC. He did not care about his title reign, and he came over to greener pastures. Sell that! Why aren't you selling it? UFC uses the pro wrestling model. When back in the 90s, when WWE was fighting WCW, and they would poach a talent, they would put that guy front and center, saying like, "Hey, this is Ric Flair. He jumped ship. Now he's with us, and we're gonna do so much better with him." Same as like when Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash went over to WCW, they didn't say like, "Yeah, well, stay out of the way. We'll see how you do." No, they said, "All right, you're main eventing everything we've got." But instead, they are wasting him. They are wasting him when they should be putting him everywhere they can. They poached a top talent. Going into the breakdown of this, you gotta look at what Will Brooks does. He beat Ross Pearson in a straight up striking match. You go back, he straight up boxed with one of the best boxers in the UFC, and he won. He lost to Cowboy. Who cares? Cowboy was overweight, and he was just much bigger. He ground him against the fence. I don't see that being an issue with Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira is coming up from featherweight, where he missed a bunch of weight. He lost to one. So Will Brooks is going from one guy who came in overweight to fighting a guy who's famous for coming in overweight at 145. I would be surprised if he comes in on weight for 155. Looking at their body styles, they're both 5'10", or they got both the same build. I think Oliveira should have been at lightweight this whole time. Oliveira does walk in with a 3-inch reach advantage. Oliveira was on a 4-fight win streak that got ended by Max Holloway, who was on the run of a lifetime. After that, he submitted Miles Jury. Then went on to be choked up by Pettis and Lamas in guillotine chokes. So you got to hope that he's been working on his guillotine defense. When you look at what each guy does well, Oliveira is got a world-class ground game, and he's dangerous off his back. Will Brooks is a great wrestler. It would be in his best interest to keep this fight standing, because anywhere you go with Oliveira, you are going to be in some trouble. Both these guys like to take the back, but looking at if Oliveira wins this one, it will be on the ground. But you got to realize that Will Brooks has phenomenal takedown defense. It is insanely difficult to get him down. looking at the striking matchup, you have Will Brooks is coming in with a karate style, and Charles Oliveira is coming in with a strict Muay Thai style with more of a reliance on his hands. When I really look at this, I think this is a good redemption match for Will Brooks. This is his fight to lose. I think that he takes this one probably in a decision, but I can easily see it happening to Oliveira again, where he goes, shoots for a takedown, leaves his neck exposed, and gets choked again. After that, we got Patrick Cote versus Thiago Alves. I'm not sure which one comes next. It's either this or the strawweight fight, but I'm just going to do this one first. Patrick Cote is coming off a loss to Donald Cerrone. I was there. I saw it. But before that, he had wins over Ben Saunders, Josh Berkman, and Joe Riggs. He's a hard striker. He's good at catching kicks for takedowns. He will take you down if you throw too many kicks. When you look at Thiago Alves, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. He tried going down to lightweight, lost to Jim Miller. Before that, he lost to Carlos Condit, getting beat by some of the best. Before that, he had wins against Jordan Meehan and Seth Pazinski. Not guys you should be thumbing your nose at. These are solid victories. When you look at how Thiago Alves fights, he's got a hard right hand, throws a great step-in knee, solid defensive jiu-jitsu, was able to mostly neutralize Jim Miller on the ground. When you really look at him, he's a lot like a lesser version of Robbie Lawler. Like, I only say that because Robbie Lawler was champion and Thiago Alves is not ranked currently. So you got to really just look at the rankings to say that. When you charge him, he doesn't run. He does not try and use his footwork. He plants his feet and swings. Look for a lot of heated exchanges in this fight. This one should be a brawl. You got to look at who has the better chin and who has the more knockout power for this one, because this will be a fight. I know that they're all fights, but this will look more like a street fight than anything. I'm going to have to lean towards somebody who's got a more famous chin and more famous knockout power. I'm going to have to say Patrick Cote on this one. After that, we got Cynthia Cavallo versus Pearl Gonzalez. Can't find too much of these. You got to just take what you can get off of YouTube, because Cynthia Cavallo has one UFC fight. She ran through Amanda Cooper at UFC 209. That one's not available on my UFC Fight Pass subscription, so I wasn't able to rewatch that one. I'm just going off of memory here because I'm smart. But I remember her easily passing guard, getting the side control, and ripping an arm off. I might be remembering that wrong if I think that the arm literally came off. I don't know. Message me in the comments. Tell me what actually happened in that fight. As for Pearl Gonzalez, this is her actual UFC debut. It's hard to find tape on her. The one I did find, I saw some solid boxing, strong takedowns. She is just a powerful girl. She's got smooth transition on the ground. She cut right through this girl's guard and ended up in side control and took an armbar. So I think this is a fight between two great jiu-jitsu fighters. I was actually listening to an interview with Cynthia Cavallo, and she's talking about how her UFC debut against Amanda Cooper, that fight was originally offered to Gonzalez. So going into this, you gotta think about how Cavallo was the UFC's second pick. She was the runner-up. They wanted Pearl Gonzalez in the first place, so they know what they're looking at. I think that Gonzalez, from what I've seen, she's got better striking. So I'm just gonna say that I'll take Gonzalez by submission. Let's say submission. After that, we go to our co-main event. Chris Weidman versus Gegard Mousasi. Chris Weidman just lost his belt to Rockhold, then got his head split open by Yoel Romero. Mousasi is on a 4-fight win streak versus Talis Leites, Thiago Santos, Vitor Belfort, and Uriah Hall. You got to look at what these guys do well. They're They're both wrestlers. Weidman has been having trouble getting these guys down in the higher echelons. Gegard Mousasi has great takedown defense, so I'm not going to really think too much about the ground game in this one. But you have to think that Weidman's getting a bit desperate now. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. He's got to be sweating a bit. He either comes in motivated or he comes in broken. We haven't seen him get a win since his undefeated streak. His undefeated record was broken. So kind of have to look at that. But when you look at brass tacks on the ground, who has better takedowns? Who will get into better positions? Probably Weidman. Who will do better work on the ground? Probably Mousasi. Who will do better striking? Weidman actually comes in with a 2-inch reach advantage. But I think the more well-rounded striker, the guy who's more comfortable throwing kicks, the guy who's got a better jab, is Gegard Mousasi. So I'm actually going to lean towards Gegard Mousasi. Finally getting that highlight reel win. Not a highlight reel, I guess. Getting that marquee win that he needed in his career to cement himself as a top contender. Even though that doesn't matter anymore because they're just going to give title shots to guys like GSP, who's never fought at middleweight and has not fought in 3 years. I'm a GSP fan. Don't get me wrong on that one. I just don't see the point. And that brings us to our main event of the evening. Daniel Cormier versus Anthony Rumble Johnson. These guys haven't... I thought these guys were a lot more active since their last fight. Well, I thought Rumble was a lot more active. Cormier, you kind of knew what he was doing. After he won the vacant belt from his first fight with Rumble almost 2 years ago, he defended it once against Alexander Gustafsson in a very close contested fight. And then he had a non-title fight with Anderson Silva. So in 2 years, he's defended the belt once. Anthony Johnson, since his loss, he went on to give Jimmy Manuwa, Ryan Bader, and then Glover Teixeira head trauma. Manuwa, fun fact, is the only one to make it longer than 2 minutes. He made it into the second round with Rumble Johnson before he got starched. Johnson is coming in with a 78-inch reach. That puts him about 5 inches longer than Cormier, but Cormier is not going to be looking to strike with him. He's going to be looking to get this fight down as soon as possible. Of course, you got to say Johnson has the power advantage. That goes without saying at this point. Everyone knows what Rumble can do. But their first fight, if you got to look and see if Rumble could see his mistakes. If you look at what Johnson was doing in that first fight, he was overexerting himself with every swing. He threw everything he had in every punch. He was punching the ground. Just those big overhand rights where he was falling over on those punches. If he can keep himself balanced and throw good combinations, he will put Cormier out as long as he can stay off his back. But really looking at this the way it is, Anthony Johnson has the epitome, the pinnacle of the puncher's chance when it comes to this fight. Cormier has a better game plan, probably a better pedigree, but so it's really hard to bet on just, oh, this guy has knockout power in a title fight. It's just really hard to do. And I'm not going to be... It's easy to get wrapped up in the hype for Anthony Johnson, but I'm just going to say Cormier probably by decision this time. He's probably going to try and embarrass him because he's a cocky little bitch. I shouldn't call him that. That's mean. Cormier is just cocky, and he's got a lot to prove. He's got a massive chip on his shoulder. He's going to try and wear Johnson out for 5 rounds, which on paper gives Johnson more time to land that punch, but once you get out of the first round, you got to start worrying that punch is never going to come. So I'm going to say Cormier by decision. Probably won't see him again for a year after that, saying that there's nobody willing to fight him, even though he's got a bunch of contenders. Nobody cares. You let Ryan Bader go, UFC. What are you doing? You're letting top talent go. You have nobody lined up. You're like, okay, we got Anthony Johnson, and we've got John Jones, who we can't trust to headline anymore. Is there anything else? No, that's it. All right, maybe we'll make Johnson versus Cormier 3 after this if it pans out. Oh, God, we will get that. If Johnson wins, we will get Johnson Cormier 3. That's my major prediction. This is Tyler from Sure to Shame, signing off.